They knew who they needed to get control of. They could never figure me out. They just cast me off as being a crazy, autistic, retarded ass little boy that ain't gonna never learn that. Just like I needed them to in order to go under their radar.
Mm-hmm.
They got outsmarted by a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old. How do you let a little kid outsmart you?
Because you play on their innocence. You don't even think that they're gonna do anything. You don't think they're gonna, they're a little kid. For you to even be aware enough to know that you had that power back then, though, that's that savantism.
Look, I used to have prophecies on a regular basis. My mom used to tell people, that boy can see the future.
Mm.
I already got a track record of psychic phenomenon back from when I was a toddler. I used to be able to levitate until I got initiated into the lodge. Somebody needed to knock my motherfucking ass straight.
So so with that being said, with being initiated into the lodge, what do you feel like, do you feel like these athletes and artists or whatever they may be in the industry stepping into these different lodges trying with the intention of learning from the people that are trying to press back to us, doesn't seem to be working out? But what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that is a smart move for us to do? Like, I'm gonna go dance with the devil for a little bit, try to figure out his move so I can bring it back.
Remember, don't never forget in none of your analysis of what's taking place on the land where we've been in a protracted struggle for 500 consecutive years with no break in the middle. We've been in a perpetual state of war. We've been locked in war.
Yep.
All right. So when you're in war, you have to strategize militarily to overcome what you face with. If you don't use the military strategy and the military understanding of the workings of a military state or a police state, if you don't know how it works, you can't see their deception. The worst thing for them that you do is pull all of their receipts, pull their charters. Who's signing these motherfuckers? They ain't us. Every one of their charters is signed by either the Pope or the goddamn Queen of England. What the fuck? Who the fuck is them motherfuckers to say what's going on over here?
Right.
They ain't got no business over here. This is where our business is at. We wasn't going over there. Yeah, we went over there and got in their business. I ain't gonna even tell that bald-faced lie. We went over there and got in their business. But it was necessary.
Right.
Right? So now they came over here. At the end of the day, everybody gonna be satisfied with the outcome of the protracted struggle, because at the end, they didn't win. We don't get replaced because they was trying to replace us. They was Jacobins. So when you looking in your file and your paperwork and you see Jacobin, your family line was tagged for them to steal it. They have to put Jacobin in there or Yakub or Jacobin or anything like that to indicate that they got your bloodline tagged for replacement. So you would say, I got an uncle, William Jacobin from England, right, as my great-great-great-great-grandfather. No, he ain't. That nigga lying. He probably ain't never touched your great-great-great-grandmama.
Wow.
Paper genocide. They call it that for a reason.
Mm.
Then they were switching us at birth. That was horrible. They were switching us at birth, letting the dirty Moors raise our kids and fill their head with a bunch of propaganda bullshit.
That's wild, because I do see some of that on my just doing my genealogy. I see a little bit where like it doesn't add up, it doesn't make sense. Like a certain person like kind of just affixed himself into the picture. I don't know.
If them fake Hebrew names is in your chart, you was tagged for replacement. Jacob is a supplanter, the underminer. He come to replace us. Yahweh is ENLIL, who told him that if they win, that they would replace us, and he was right. If they win. If they win. This is the planet of the apes, motherfucker. And I'm gonna pound on my motherfucking chest and beat the concrete. You motherfuckers not gonna win here.
Right.
Now that we got a chance to permanently eradicate the earth for the parasites, I'm going to take full advantage to make sure we don't. If all it is a knowledge game and a 5D chess puzzle, come on with that shit. They ain't ready for me.
All 5D chess. They playing on multiple levels. Dang, that's wild, because I'm sitting here thinking about it, because I direct descendant of 2 chiefs. One Creek, one Cherokee, but you know Creek that's technically underneath Cherokee.
Cherokee, go look that term up. That was one of the catch terms, like more, that they was using to what they call an inclusionist doctrine of genocide. They used the Cherokee name to cover up the real name of the indigenous people so that they can insert anybody under the term Cherokee.
$5, okay. That was like a coverall.
Right, just like more. You
Mm-hmm.
see, they didn't ever think we was gonna figure out that Cherokee and is tied to the Moors, and the Cherokee is the cherry tree, and the cherry tree with the cherry key. And George Washington chopped down the cherry tree. Come on now, all that shit related. 32 degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry under the direction of Albert Pike, who also passed off as George Washington, when the real George Washington wasn't no pink motherfucker.
Nah, he was definitely copper.
Right. So when they tell you George Washington was born in Virginia or France, that's the imposter. But that's what you call a 3-point conversion on who he is. Because in France, that's where the Bavarian Grove Illuminati started under Adam Weishaupt. And the only motherfucker they got a real picture of is Albert Pike. The rest of them is paintings. Like they didn't have photographs back then.
Yeah, definitely did. And they capping on the quality of the photos and stuff too.
Man, I seen the picture of the guy that was inventing the first camera. Come on now.
How you got a picture of the guy inventing the first camera?
And the caption said the same thing I was thinking. Who the fuck took the picture?
Right.
But we supposed to believe just any old goddamn thing. They just tell it to us and we run with it.
Right.
I'd be like, where did that shit come from? Who told y'all that shit? And when I started asking them questions, it started hurting people's feelings because they didn't never ask them questions.
Yeah, because you can see stuff on Tartaria, like the buildings underneath the buildings that we have now, that kind of hold up a lot of these cities. You can kind of see some of that, like pictures before the cameras came out.
Notice everywhere these major cities around the world is, they always been major cities all over the world in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Pull the ley lines.
At meridian points.
Pull the ley lines and look at where they at. The hot meridian is the 33rd parallel on the equator. Mm-hmm. The 33rd parallel run through Atlanta.
Yep.
And it run through Cairo and Mecca.
All right here.
You know what I'm saying? When you follow the equator around, you see all of these things that's so far from the equator, between the equator and the 33rd parallel, and that's the sweet spot.
Right.
Now, once you start going past the 33rd, the planet starts to cool down drastically. And that's how you know that south is the top of the planet, because it's the one get the most sunlight.
Right. And they flipped it on us.
Tricked the shit out of our ass. We fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
Flipped it on us.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, but it wasn't because I was smarter than nobody else. I just liked my bananas, so I took the banana out the tailpipe when they put it in there.
What's wrong with you?
If they were playing monkey in the middle.
Right. And the crazy part about that is I remember I was like 18, 19. I'm taking a flight. It's to, I think it was like Cuba or something. And the flight pattern they had me on, I'm looking up. You know, I'm getting online and looking at the map. And they taking me all out the way, like the opposite way to where my destination is going. And then taking me all the way across the world. It was like a 16-hour flight, but if they went straight to it, in like 3 or 4 hours.
But so, a lot of that got to do with avoiding hostile weather patterns and what they call jet streams. In certain planes, you can't get caught in certain environments in the atmosphere because it'll send you straight to the earth.
Turbulence, all of that.
Right. So most of us don't know about all of that part of flying. So we gonna run our mouth and be talking about, see, in the plane, and man, there's so much shit going to flying the plane. That shit ain't no motherfucker. Why you think everybody ain't lined up to be no goddamn pilot? It take a special kind of motherfucker to fly planes.
Yeah, you do have to be. I was staying with somebody who was getting his pilot's license, and that's technical. So you got to know everything. Like,
look, they directing traffic in the air. This like trying to tell bullets where to go in real time.
Right.
Serious. The only thing they trying to make sure is this plane and that plane is not on a cross trajectory with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pull up the aerial map and see what the air traffic over the United States alone looking like, let alone around the world. So now you the air traffic controller, you got to direct that shit. So it might seem like it's easier to fly from New York to Morocco, but they're going to take you to Spain first or Italy first.
Right.
Right? Because it's the flow of traffic in the air. It's the same with the highways. Motherfuckers just don't cut across the woods to go where they're going. They follow the road. It's just that it's a road in the sky that we can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
It's like it's a river running in the atmosphere.
Almost like what Morpheus said. Who told you it's air? It just might be. Just might be a lighter river.
Look, when the grid flip, we're gonna go to breathing the double oxygen molecule of the ozone. Ozone is going to crush closer to the earth. The lower atmosphere is going to move closer to the earth. And the oxygen that we breathe, we're going to be breathing a double oxygen molecule, ozone. It's going to change the way that we process metals in our biological systems.
So that's going to be when we flip back and start changing colors, start de-rusting.
Yeah, so right now with soft metals, the soft metals is the dominant metals based on how our DNA was programmed when the Anunnaki interfered with it. We used to be on platinum group metals only. Then the system, your body could become your spaceship, your Merkaba.
Right.
Right. And if they want to stop you from using your Merkaba, they have to switch the metals that you use because you have too much waste product generated in order to harness enough energy to raise up to that level of frequency.
That's what the food.
Yeah, the food, the toxins in the food, congesting the liver. Most of the food that we eat now with all those pesticides and shit, it's just to fuck the liver up. So once they fuck the liver up, you're going to have high blood pressure, diabetes, intestinal problems. Then that's going to cause impurities to build up in the blood that's going to strangle the brain of oxygen slowly. And then they're going to tell you got Alzheimer's or dementia. It's orchestrated. Everything was weaponized against us from motherfucking the first day of school, goddamn it. When they put this motherfucking lights in the delivery room to blind the shit out your ass when you're born, to shock your visual cortex. That's in order to stimulate amnesia.
So
then they slap you on the ass so that you'll fall into instant trauma. And they don't give you immediately to the mama. They give you to somebody to stick a bottle in your mouth. So now you can't even sync to the mother. She can't sync to the baby. And then they wonder why these women got postpartum depression.
Because they never
made it. When I came out my mom, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Where the doulas? I'm mad at a motherfucker. I was born with an attitude. Oh my God, this shit didn't look right. I'm used to, when I be born, I'm used to being born with a bunch of ladies in grass skirts with no top on. By candlelight. I don't know nothing about these motherfuckers with this motherfucking white suits and shit. Who is these motherfuckers?
Fluorescent light.
With these bright ass goddamn spotlights. I ain't no stage motherfucker. I'm not an actor.
Shit, that's hilarious. That's real though.
And they act like they don't know what they're doing.
Oh no,
that's the part that pisses me off, because when you say something, they'll say something like the doctors don't know what the doctors don't believe that. The doctors know what the fuck they doing.
Right. That's why I make it so hard to get that percentage.
It's basic common sense. Massive shock to the visual cortex. causes amnesia.
Mm. That's the first thing you see.
First thing you see when you come out is a bunch of goddamn spotlights.
Mm.
And then them bright ass white jackets reflecting the spotlight even more.
Right into your soul, because that's the first time your soul sees the world, right?
Yeah, what the fuck is this shit? I just was doing flips on my mama's stomach and I come out here to this shit. This shit gotta get fixed. I knew that out the gate. This shit gotta get fixed. I don't know what this. And then I'm listening to my mama telling my auntie, you gotta get the baby out of here before they kill him. I'm like, why the fuck they want to kill me? I just got here. They knew who I was. I didn't.
Yo, let's talk about how you was talking about that amnesia. They still do it in the, well, not anymore, not as much. But I remember like in the 90s, early 2000s, where they used to have them little broadcasts where it made you sit through like 30, 45 seconds, almost a minute of the colors changing and the loud sounds. Mm-hmm. Was that make you forget certain things?
That's not necessarily amnesia. Sometimes that's to stimulate the same part of your psyche that the psychotropics stimulate. The peyote and the mushrooms, psilocybins, those color patterns, they call them psychedelic color patterns.
Right.
Right. So they mimic having the psychic trip without the psychic trip. Mm-hmm. And then if you put them under the strobing lights, and that's to stimulate the visual cortex as if you was having a psychic psilocybin or toadstool peyote trip. So sometimes they infuse them with a frequency of energy to directly contact your higher self, telling you, hey, soldier, we need you to wake up, but we can't tell nobody. Mm. Your subconscious already know, your higher self already know what the message means. Right? And it had to wait for you to get the message. Your conscious mind it's like, what the fuck going on? What's and then your subconscious is about to take over and he don't know it. They call that being possessed. So you would take a whole star and the mitochondria will be a step down capacitor for that star to be sentient in a human body.
Okay, so in other words,
it's the fuel. It's the fuel of life. And that's why the Galactic Council, that's why I told ENLIL about the mitochondria. Matter of fact, if you read in Zechariah Extensions about the book of Enki, I forgot what the name of it is. It's like the life of Enki or something, but he talked about in there and knew describing mitochondrial to ENLIL.
Right.
And Anu laughed at ENLIL because he thought the Y chromosome was superior to the mitochondrial, and that should give him the right to rule Earth. And that's what caused all of the conflict that they say, and there was a war in heaven, and Michael, which is a title, which is the leader of the military contingent of Nibiru, Michael, went to war with Lucifer is not who they say he is. And they changing the positions because Lucifer is a feminine enlightenment, we call Inanna energy, but they replaced it with what ENLIL did. ENLIL is the one who rebelled and got cast. Well, he didn't get cast to the earth. He came to the earth. They keep saying, like they call in the Anunnaki in the Bible, Nephala, those who failed. Did none of those angels fall? They all came down here. And the motherfuckers came down here fighting. So the mitochondrial energy, the woman can adjust it in the man to turn his higher consciousness on. But the man will take a lifetime trying to do it on his own.
That's why one of the sayings of now today, all strong men need a strong woman. Because when you really look back at ancient societies, it was the goddesses that was making them niggas gods. It wasn't the gods ordaining them as goddesses. It was the goddesses making them into gods.
Well, that ties back into the writings of Baruch Shango, that he wrote the book, African Woman, the Original Guardian Angel. The women are called kingmakers. if she has a good grasp of herself and her ability to adjust the mitochondria just by being, it's more complicated than that, but to simplify it, she becomes a kingmaker because she turns on and turns up at stages the mitochondrial in her mate. So when the mother picked your mate for you, you thinking that you going wherever you going looking for a woman that you picking her. No, she's not going to pay you any attention unless your mother give her the call through the heart chakra. Some of them is just training and some of them is the real deal. And you won't never know until you wake all the way up, and then you can read the signs that told you who's who and what's what.
So when we going about picking our mates, how would you advise the brothers and sisters of a methodology that may be in line with something that's more, proper to do as improper to do?
The easiest thing to tell them is don't look for her, she'll come find you. And you will know when she finds you because you will feel something that you didn't feel before. I don't look for women, but they find me at the right time. And like I tell them, if you see me sitting across the couch from you, that's